Welcome. Thank you for joining me for this brief webinar. Fill us in on OMA, or the Opening Minds Through Art program. My name is Stephanie Shanks. I am the OMA Program Director with Art for the Journey, and I'm glad you're here. This webinar is ideal for people who are wanting to know about the program's benefits, about the funding opportunity available currently through Leading Age Virginia, and maybe wanting to implement the program in the near future. It's also appropriate for anybody who's curious about best practice programs and what's possible in the world of activities in these tough times. So settle in, relax, eat your lunch, do what you need to do, and let me tell you about OMA. First, briefly, I'd like to share about Art for the Journey. We are a nonprofit art organization based in Richmond, and our mission is to transform lives through art and community by giving everyone a space to create, regardless of barriers they may face, whether cognitive or institutional or circumstantial. We believe everyone deserves a chance to express themselves and can truly find healing, especially when in the presence of a caring individual. The staff with Art for the Journey that are involved in the OMA project are Cindy Pollan, the Executive Director, myself, Stephanie Shanks, I'm the OMA Program Director, Diane Simons, Doctor of Occupational Therapy. She is our lead OMA trainer. And last, Angie Allen, who's our Assistant Grant Project Manager and Program Director with Art for the Journey. A lot of people benefit from the program Art for the Journey. OMA is just one of our programs, and it is our flagship program. But we also reach youth and under-resourced communities, women in recovery, women who are incarcerated, veterans living with PTSD, older adults, of course, whether or not they have dementia, medical students, and the general public, including a TV show called The Creative Corner, which we produced during the pandemic, which is a great resource for teachers and students, and is available on PBS. So you may have heard about OMA. What distinguishes OMA from other activities, from other programs? What makes it unique? Why is it a big deal? I would like to pass you up to the voice of Dr. Elizabeth Locon, who's the OMA founder. At Scripps Gerontology, she founded this program with Miami University students after following some research in long-term care communities and especially memory support units, one of which she checked herself into for multiple weeks undercover to do some true unbiased research. So she's quite remarkable. And here is a video produced by Scripps OMA about the program.
People with intact cognitions oftentimes try to free ourselves from the limitation of having to draw this thing that looks like that, you know? And when you are free from that, you can then break into the abstract world more directly. So when the ability to express is impaired, they think the content is gone. And that's where the violation of human rights come in, because the human is still there. It's just that they are locked behind the disease. It doesn't mean that there isn't somebody in there that's trying to express. And so art is a sort of channel. When logical thinking and verbal expression is impaired, art is still there for them to express.
And when I see what I do, and I realize how it comes out, I'm beside myself.
Working with people with dementia and learning more about it, not just via textbook and what you see in movies, how it's portrayed, I guess. It's changed my experience at Miami because now it's everything that I do here. So I don't really know what I would have done without this program. I think that being involved with this has given me purpose on this campus. I work and I have friends and I feel like I'm doing stuff, but gerontology has made me feel like what I'm doing is really going to make a difference, especially at Miami, because I can be a part of the gerontology club that raises money and I can help the residents in the community, and it furthers my, I don't know, drive to do that throughout my entire life.
Put an ocean and a river between everything yourself and home. You must be somewhere in London. You must be loving your life in the rain. You must be somewhere.
Too often people with dementia in long-term care facilities, everything's decided for them, and they don't make decisions, and it takes too long, it's too confusing, and this is the 1 hour where they get to decide everything on their own. So choices are built in, opportunities for autonomy is built into the process, and then success is almost guaranteed.
The learning experience can be about issues with respect to aging, dementia, and so forth. But there's also a deeply personal part of this growth, in which they come to understand how to connect with people in these situations in a profound way.
It's our obligation to provide as rich and a full experience for these individuals who are suffering with dementia as humanly possible.
The mission of the program is building bridges across age and cognitive barriers. So that bridge is actually relationship, and within that relationship, at the foundation is love.
So OMA, in summary, it's an award-winning, research-based, best practice intergenerational art program designed for people living with and without dementia. It really is an equalizer. You cannot tell the difference between the quality of one art piece to the next, whether or not the artist has cognitive limitations. It was developed in 2007 by Dr. Elizabeth Locon, as we've mentioned, and it's been replicated through training across the US, Canada, Spain, Brazil, and now in Indonesia as part of a Fulbright Scholarship awarded to Dr. Locon. And so it's really a global movement seeking to reach older adults through this powerful non-pharmacological intervention that helps them emerge from behind a disease and express themselves again. OMA fosters failure-free creativity through easy layered steps, and this results in complex abstract art pieces that are truly art show worthy. And the structure of each project is such that there's autonomy and choices built in a way that is truly virtually failure-free, and anybody can do it. There's a variety of materials and processes. They're all sophisticated, authentic art materials. They're not juvenile. And it really makes the older adults feel like they're doing something really interesting, whether or not they were artists in their former days or not. They enjoy the honor and respect they feel by giving them these sophisticated materials and this complex, really educational experience in abstract art. OMA emphasizes one-to-one social interaction, especially through intergenerational relationships. So it works with any one-to-one relationship, this intergenerational component. It illuminates things for both sides of the partnership. The older adults get to invest in this younger person in a way that they maybe don't get to every day. And the younger person gets to listen and support in ways that are not condescending, but are really grandparent-grandchild style. And it's really, really, really sweet. And the young volunteers are also educated about aging through volunteer training, which is a required training that every volunteer has to go through. They understand what dementia and Alzheimer's do to the brain, how to interact with someone who might be limited by a dementia of some sort. They also learn the methodology around OMA, how to support someone in the creative process, facilitating an independent but supported creative experience, something they can take with them throughout their lives. And also it's something that inspires them to engage with the aging services field in new ways. A lot of The young people that have come through Art for the Journeys local program have found their wings and their vision, and often been redirected from one career path to another through their experience with OMA. So there's lots of key benefits for young people who engage with OMA. The OMA philosophy is strengths-based. We ask, what can they still do? We don't focus on limitations, but we focus on the remaining strengths. It is person-centered, of course, and not illness-centered. And it's focused on well-being. And Lika designed the program around the PERMA model, Seligman's 5 key components of well-being: positive emotion, engagement, relationship, meaningfulness, and accomplishment. And from the partnerships to the mental stimulation, to the sense of contributing to something larger, to the accomplishment they feel when they see their own artwork hanging on the wall and shared with their peers. OMA hits on every single aspect. OMA is also structured to be easily implemented by certified OMA facilitators. So it's a best practice program, and it is designed to the nth degree so that it can be replicated by anyone who goes through the training. And it is resourced and supported through art projects and supply lists, methodology cheat sheets, templates and forms, volunteer training videos, data collection tools, and a facilitator support system. Really everything that a facilitator may need to run this program and do it really well. Everything is provided in a training miter they receive at the beginning, and they don't have to create anything new. They truly can lean on the genius of this program, the ingenuity of the design. And facilitators all over have implemented this program very successfully because of it. So why OMA? OMA impacts people. The research overwhelmingly reports impact on older adults, both living with and without dementia, family members, those who may not have seen the side of their loved one before. To see them create art can bring out a whole new dimension, and also is a way for them to express and connect with them, and hear their voices and their personalities come through their artwork in a way that they maybe haven't in a long time. Volunteers, of course, as I've mentioned, and then staff who witness and participate, who get to see a new side of residents. That's truly valuable. There's research that's been done on OMA extensively. There are 8 published studies, 3 on older adults, 5 on students, and these can all be found on scriptsoma.org. OMA inspires staff. So OMA facilitators who have gone through this program, they reap a lot of benefits, not the least of which is 19 CEUs. As activities professionals or dementia practitioners, they can renew their certificates or work towards that through this course. But this professional development has broad application. So as a best practice program that is founded on person-centered research and centers on creative facilitation, there are many, many conceptual and practical applications for staff who go through this program. We hear often that they are inspired to do all of their work a little differently. They're running activities, keeping in mind autonomy in new ways, keeping in mind open-ended questions, things that OMA specifically teaches. Rewarding peer relationships. So trainees get to not just encounter peers in the field who are coming to do this training, as you see in this picture to the left, where they can connect and bond and create some memories through this experience. This small group team during training decided to all coordinate and wear red at the practicum. But they also get to connect with a peer that's on campus with them, maybe in their unit, who is also being trained in OMA, and they get to connect in a new, more rewarding way. They get to collaborate and plan and connect in new ways through this training. They get to receive the personal wellness through creativity. They get to make 4 art projects at the practicum. And as they run the program, they get to create art in order to prepare for each session. And we've found, and the data backs up that creating is good for all of us, and that level of wellness is really worth investing in. Staff receive meaningful insights into residents' abilities, as we've mentioned. And of course, they get to take home a certification in a best practice program, which is something they can carry with them and be bolstered by for years to come. So you may love hearing all of this. You may be all for it. What's not to like? But when should we adopt OMA, you might be asking. How do we do this? What does this look like on the ground? We'd like to do it, but when? I know there are a lot of factors for each of you, and you need to take a lot of things into consideration. I'm here to share one consideration, and that is the financial. OMA training is $1,000. From start to finish. It's all the resources I've mentioned, but it is $1,000 self-pay. However, Art for the Journey and Leading Age Virginia have received CMP funding. So the civil monetary penalty reinvestment funds have been awarded to Leading Age Virginia with Art for the Journey as its training entity to distribute funding to up to 102 Virginia skilled nursing facilities between June 21 and 24. And so this funding covers two things. It covers scholarships for training, so 2 scholarships per skilled nursing facility, as well as art supply funds, which is a $2,000 check that comes to you after those 2 trainees have completed the course. It's really straightforward. The eligibility, you've got to be in Virginia, have a skilled nursing facility on site, though you do not have to send skilled nursing facility staff necessarily, and be CMS certified. And the goal here, of course, is to turn non-compliance fees into best practice fuel for you and the adults you serve. So now really is a great time to take advantage of this. The funding will go away in June of 24, and there are only limited trainings between now and then to take advantage of this. There are currently 44 grant-funded OMA sites and 159 OMA facilitators across the state, both through the grant and external edit. So there are plenty of packages, but we hope you will jump in and become an OMA certified site before the money runs out. There's no guarantee of this being available. Again, this is really a unique window. So I would encourage you to make the investment now for your staff, inspire them now, and you will be able to reap the benefits. Even if you can't implement the OMA program immediately, you'll be trained, ready, fueled up to launch it shortly thereafter. So how does this work? Great question. The training includes these components: independent online coursework. There's a set of modules online through scriptsoma.org. It's the Miami developed course that's completed at a paced rate, which ends up being about 2 hours per week. There are 3 weekly virtual live sessions at noon throughout the session to make training a little more engaging and rewarding. There are also 3 weekly small group meetings, which are briefer and just another chance for the cohort to benefit from peer encounters. And then there's a 1.5 day practicum. This is the fun part where they get to make art, they get to be volunteers, and they get to run mini OMA sessions and get to connect and have a lot of fun, as well as receive just the deep hands-on interactive training that they find so valuable and can take with them. They can be listed online as an OMA certified site, or a certified OMA site, excuse me, after the training, and they will be searchable nationwide through that listing. And that's binder of resources they will continue to take with them. Of course, all of those resources are also online available to them for a lifetime, so they will not lose access to this training. They receive a thumb drive with additional resources and links, and of course, ongoing support through the OMA Facilitator Network nationwide and globally, and through Art for the Journey in particular. We support them with all kinds of supports, including volunteer training. We offer that for free through our grant offer period. So lots of things to take advantage of when trained with Art for the Journey. What's the process to get on board with the grant? It's pretty straightforward. You'll submit a brief application online. At the bottom here is the QR code, and I'll send it again here at the end of the slides. Then receive approval via email with information on how to register to staff for hybrid training. It does not have to be at the same training, though that's recommended. It's for their benefit, but you can register them at separate times for separate trainings. Complete the training. And so that's a 4-week online experience and then a day and a half in person. And then we will send you paperwork. The administrator in charge will sign a commitment for the funding and receive that check for art supply funds. And then 6 months afterwards, complete a survey about implementation. That's something the activities directors, the trained facilitators will do. The grant reporting is pretty minimal, especially for those in the back half of the grant. And for more information about any of this, you can see our link at the bottom here, artforthejourney.org/OMA training. And this will be at the end as well. Here's where we've been in the last year. We've been in Richmond, Roanoke, Suffolk, Williamsburg, Richmond. We are about to be in Wytheville and Richmond again. Then we'll be in Manassas and Tidewater in the new year. We are still looking to identify an additional host for our final practicum. And if you are interested in hosting a practicum in exchange for 2 additional scholarships for your staff, please reach out. We'd love to have a conversation. The next training starts on September 19th online, and there's 2 practicum options for that cohort, October 24th and 25th in Wytheville, and November 2nd through 3rd in Richmond. Here is the QR code for that training. Again, it will be at the end here. So this is my information, as well as information to contact Diane Simons, the lead trainer. Feel free to reach out with any questions. I hope you do choose to apply for funding. Go ahead and get in the door. There's really no cost except the commitment to time to complete training and the survey in 6 months. We'd love to celebrate you as an OMA site, support you, and watch you flourish by helping change the narrative around aging and bringing the next generation of leaders up into this aging services field that is so thirsty for the next cohort of change makers who will change the way how we view aging and how we name dementia. So we are excited to be a part of this with you. Thank you for your time, and we hope to hear from you soon.